When I was about 8 or 9, so in primary school, I had a running theme in my report card that the teacher would write. It would go something like this: Claire's a very conscientious student, very diligent with her work, works well with others. But unfortunately, she talks too much. She's a bit too talkative, quite disruptive in class. If you could just rein that in. And I'd take my report card to my mother and she'd read it and she'd say to me, "You really need to stop talking so much in class. You know, you're disturbing other children." And I'm thinking, yes, I was probably saying relevant things in class. But nobody wants to hear the thoughts of an 8-year-old. So at the beginning of the new term, my mother would say, "Don't forget, you must stop talking so much in class, okay?" And I'd try, and I think I'd lost about 30 seconds. And I'd back to talking to my friends. Something else that I was told by my mother, one day I remember we were sitting in the lounge and she said to me, like out of the blue completely, "Do you know, Claire, I watch you play with your friends and I noticed that you're very bossy. You need to stop being so bossy." And I was like, "Yeah?" And she says, "Yeah, I was watching you playing with your friends. You were shouting at them, telling them where to go, what to do, what the rules are. You need to just let them be. You need to just let your friends be themselves. Stop being so bossy, stop bossing them around." And I'm trying to think of the games that she probably saw me play where I could possibly have been bossy. I couldn't think of anything. I racked my brain and I thought of a game that I played with my friends that same holiday, actually. When I was much younger, Miss South Africa was a huge thing. It was massive. Everybody watched it. So my friends and I decided we would play Miss South Africa. So we would get into our Navy school issued swimming costumes and we would all pretend like we are contestants in Miss South Africa. And halfway through this game, I'm realizing this is not going to work. We can't all be contestants. Do you know? Some of us need to actually tell you where to go, where to stand, how the rules work. So I grabbed my mother's Afro-comb and I realized, perhaps I am bossy. Because I decided with the Afro-comb that I would be the host because every Miss South Africa needed a host, right? So I realized, okay, so I talk too much and I'm bossy. These were stains on my character that I think defined me for quite a long time. Anyway, I grew up. I went to high school. In high school, I was scouted as a model. I became quite successful in modeling. And what was really wonderful was that modeling opened many opportunities for me. And one of those opportunities was that I became a TV presenter. So I joined the national broadcaster SABC1 as the SABC1 presenters. And that was a great job, and I enjoyed it so much. And about a year into the job, my boss called me into his office, and he said, "Claire, I've got a great opportunity for you." I'm like, "Yes?" And he says, "Listen, we've just got the rights to broadcast Miss South Africa Teen. And we're going to have co-hosts. I want you to be one of the co-hosts." I'm like, yes. I could do that. I'm so excited. And he says the other co-host is going to be Michael Moe. Now I have to take a minute to explain to you who Michael Moe is. To date, Michael Moe is still the gold standard of TV presenting in South Africa. He's good-looking, charming, witty, good-looking, thinks on his feet, traveled the world for TV magazine show that everyone loved, Top Billing. Also a qualified medical doctor. Have I mentioned that he's good-looking? So at that time, Michael was a legend, and I thought to myself, wow, I get to present and work next to Michael Moe. This is amazing. This is going to be a career highlight for me. So we're going to present Miss South Africa Teen, and it's going to happen at the Big Top Arena at Carnival City in Benoni. Now, if you've been to the Big Top Arena, you'll know it's a massive venue, huge. And it's going to be an event that is broadcast live to 40 million South Africans. We spent the entire week rehearsing for Miss South Africa Teen that was going to happen on the Saturday. We rehearsed morning, noon, night, into the wee hours of the morning. Now the theme for Miss South Africa Teen that year was going to be Carnival, okay? So the director had a nice plan for the opening sequence for Miss South Africa Teen. People would be seated in the Big Top Arena, and in the space between their seats and the stage, we would have a massive procession. So how it would work is that as soon as we were live, the lights would go down, and then you'd hear a voice, and a voice would say, "Welcome to Miss South Africa Teen 2001. then the lights would go up, and then a ringmaster would appear, and he'd crack his whip, and that would signal the beginning of this procession. Now, I need to explain the procession was extravagant. There were drum majorettes, there was a brass band, there were jugglers, flame breathers. Listen, there were trapeze artists. It was going to be an extravaganza. So this amazing procession would happen. And at the end of the procession, somebody would come out with cymbals and smash the cymbals to signal the fact that now the procession is over and the event is about to begin and the presenters must come onto stage. It was Michael's cue that he would walk out on stage after he was introduced, and then Michael would stand on stage and then introduce me. It's something we had rehearsed a million times, okay? So it was going to happen now. It's Saturday. Now, when you produce or when you are working on a live event as a presenter, one of the things you must get is that you must get an earpiece. And the earpiece allows the director to communicate with you, so you know what's going on. He cues you. So Michael and I are in the wings in the Big Top Arena at Carnival City in Benoni. And we're standing there, and Michael is standing across from me over there on his side of the stage in the wings, and I'm standing here in the wings on my side of the stage. We've got our earpieces in. The director says, 15 minutes to live. I'm nervous, I'm excited, we had practiced so much. People are a bit busy here, people that are still checking hair and makeup, making sure I've got water and everything. 5 minutes to air. My heart is going cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Michael and I can hear the people entering the room and taking their seats. We can hear the energies building up in the room. It's starting to get exciting. We know this is the moment. 30 seconds to air. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The lights go down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Miss South Africa Teen 2001. The ring, the guy comes out, he cracks his whip, and he signals the beginning of the procession. Pyrotechnics, smoke machines, listen, the marching band comes out. Now, I know because of our rehearsals, we've rehearsed this a million times, the procession is about 4 minutes long before the cymbal signals the end. It's 4 minutes. Immediately, my head starts spinning, and I can't take a breath. I'm panicking. I'm standing there, and I'm panicking. And I get weak. And my bones feel like they've turned to rubber. I can hardly support myself. I'm standing in the wings, and I can't breathe, and I feel like I'm gonna fall. And everyone thinks, oh my goodness, something's wrong. Michael, who's standing in his position, he's a doctor, he can see something's not right. He runs backstage to me, and he's checking my pulse. People are giving me water, people are panicking. I know at that moment I cannot go on stage. This is not going to happen today. Michael's gonna have to do this thing on his own. I'm having a panic attack. Michael is checking me, people are running around. The director says, 3 minutes to presenters, 3 minutes. The procession is going. I'm panicking because I'm thinking I can't even breathe. I can't even stand up. After Michael has done his own checks, he comes closer to me and his face is almost touching mine, and he says, Claire, you know, we've rehearsed this many times. It's not a mistake that you are here. You know exactly what you are doing. You are meant to be here. You are going to be okay. I'm going to go back to my position, and I'm going to see you out there, okay? And I'm going, no, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And Michael disappears. He runs backstage, back to his position. And in the few seconds that it took Michael to get back into his position, he triggered a flashback for me when he said that it was not a mistake that I was there. The flashback memory was that I was standing in my mother's room in my Navy school-issued swimming costumes with my mother's Afro comb in my hand, pretending that we were playing Miss South Africa, and I was telling all my friends what to do. It triggered the flashback that all I need to do is talk for the next hours. And you know what? Guess what I'm good at? Talking too much. I steadied myself. I had the water. The paramedics are thinking, shit, we hope she's okay. 1 minute to Michael. I steady myself. I'm standing. I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm trying to take deep breaths. The procession is happening, and all I hear is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The guy comes out with the cymbal. We at backstage, we can hear it. He smashes the cymbal in dramatic fashion. And that signals the end of the procession, and then you hear a voice that says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the host for Miss South Africa Teen 2001 is Michael Mo." And every single time we had rehearsed it in the Big Top Arena in Carnival City in Benoni, Michael would walk out as soon as his name was said. But this time was a bit different. He stood there and he looked at me. And he nodded, gave me a wink, and then he walked out onto stage. And the applause was deafening because he was Michael Mo. And Michael Mo, he held that space. He filled the room with his charisma. And he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Miss South Africa Teen 2001. It's an honor to be your host this evening, but I don't go alone. Please put your hands together for my beautiful co-host, Miss Mawisa." And the people that were in the wings with me had to nudge me out onto stage. And I found myself out on stage, and I couldn't see the audience because the lights were so bright. And all I could see was Michael standing, and I just thought, I just need to get to where Michael is standing. And I got to where Michael was standing, and I turned and I looked at the camera, and you know what? I remember nothing after that. The next thing I remember about that night is the fact that a very pretty girl had a crown on her head and confetti was in the air. And the director said, "That's a wrap, guys. Great job." I had remembered nothing. I think I was on autopilot. That week I had to go to the SABC archives and I needed to request a tape to watch it back, to see what I had done and what the show was about, because I wasn't there. But what has always been very powerful to me about that particular story is that when I was a child, I was unknowingly manifesting my destiny. Through play. When there was no outside pressure, no outside judgment, and I was just being myself, I had manifested that moment. It was just unfortunate that the adults around me at that time could not see that those things that I was doing were my gifts. The talking too much, the bossing people around. Of course, they never knew what my destiny was going to be. They could never have known. I didn't know. But as I grew up, I just thought to myself, well, those things can't be important. Those things must be negative about me because they're not really adding value. And the way people talk to me about them means that, you know, they aren't really special gifts to treasure. When in fact today, if I had to stop talking and stop bossing people around, I would be out of work. A lot of people come up to me and they say to me, "Claire, how did you know that you wanted to do what you were doing? How did you know?" Because I'm confused. A lot of people, especially after the lockdown, you know, after the pandemic, people now really want to work meaningful jobs. They want to do something that's on purpose. People want to be true to themselves, and they think, "I just don't want to do this job. I don't love it. I don't know what I want to do with my life." How do you know? I don't have the answers, but I tell people perhaps the clue lies in your younger self. What was your younger self doing before there were negative labels put on it? Before somebody told you, you can't make a career out of that? Before you then internalized that as a limiting belief? Perhaps the clues to your purpose, maybe the clues to your destiny lie in your younger self that was not affected by judgment. Today, I challenge you all, if you are looking for answers, to reconnect with your younger self. Thank you.